first I'll share my screen so you can all see the course material. So this is, I mean, it's the same material as in the full course. All the basics first, and then all of these setup videos here. More will be added, I really hope, this summer. And then all the past lives that we have done. And these videos are really good, but there's a lot of material. So up here at the very start, we have the content that is unique to this coaching course, this YMP program. We'll talk about this in a moment, the VRC stuff. Pekko will be in charge of this. I think he maybe knows, maybe not. We're going to talk about this. But here, if you go to the first meeting we had, there's an archive of the meeting, but below here, there are some valuable links. So explaining the goal of YMP and then how we're going to do it. And then great content is listed here. Videos about driving, then links to the wiki, and an overview of the things that we spoke about in this first video. So this is a really good resource, and you should watch these videos if you haven't already. So it's this section in the beginning, coaching course unique content. This is where I will be uploading the videos once we figure out what the problem is. Now I've just put a YouTube link here. So this section at the top will have the relevant information for this course. And then when we have meetings coming up, I'll always post them here also. But Discord is the best way to check, but also I have the link here in the course material. So even this meeting here, the invite is here. Okay, so I thought we would do something a bit interactive to start off. It's based on the experience we had with Pekko traveling to America and then the Philippine Masters, meeting a lot of Mayako drivers, meeting a lot of youth mentoring program, youth and mentors, going over a lot of cars. And now we need to sort of figure out what the next steps are. So how do we make the most of our equipment? How do we have the most fun at the track? How do we get the best results possible? So let's create a bit of a step-by-step guide for this. So we really have to talk about this. Back to basics. Most of what we go over here, all the things about driving, yes, they always apply, but anything to do with car setup, learning about different adjustments on the car, also adjusting the car to your liking, or even buying option parts or different parts for your car. Consistency, improving, doing well at races. All of these things become irrelevant if you don't do step one first, which is assemble, build, and maintain your car as it is supposed to be built and maintained. This is really, really important. And we've spoken about this before here and also in previous years in the live meetings. So I recommend you go and watch those videos too. We've had Ronne Falk and Thibaut and various other top pro drivers on talking about just, you know, the basic build and maintenance of cars and how important it is. And this is something that I come across all the time. Just the very basics of putting a car together and then making sure that the parts that are supposed to move, like arms and hubs and all the links, that they actually do move and they aren't binding. Or then things like having a shock oil which is suitable for the conditions. Because if you look at a setup sheet, and the setup sheet was made for the Philippine Masters where it was 35 degrees Celsius and you're racing in 15 degrees Celsius, then if you use the same oil, your oil is going to be very thick, far too thick, and the car won't work. These kind of things are very important, and they are really where many of us are still at. And this is something that is hard to convey over video. In person, it's much easier because you can just point out the things on cars that are wrong. But at the end of the day, they are not super complicated. So let's come up with a bit of a checklist here for things that are commonly or sort of common mistakes that people make with their cars. And please join in this, so I'm not doing this alone. But I'm going to start by writing a few points and then join in, please. Do you know what the LUTs test is? For shock oil?
No.
It's really good. He had it in one of his videos. He's also done it or explained it when he's been a guest on Invisible Speed live meetings. So what you do is, it's a way to evaluate if your shock oil or shock setup is suitable, if it's in the ballpark. Because to describe the feeling of the damping when you press the suspension down is hard. The way I've done it in the past is I tell you to feel the cars of more experienced drivers and the cars that are working very well, to learn to understand what the suspension should feel like. How firm is the damping? How does the car feel when you just press down the front or the rear on the pit table, and then compare it to your own? And is it sort of in the ballpark? But that's not the best way to do it, it seems, because LUTs came up with a better one. It's really good. So what you do is you move the suspension up and down, but you start doing it faster and faster. So, for example, the front end of the car, you take hold of the shock tower and you move it up and down, and you move it fast, and you see that, does the suspension keep moving, or do the wheels just start lifting up and down, and you're smashing the entire front end and the wheels on and off the table? Like, they lift up, then you smash it down, they lift up, smash it down. So this way of doing it is better, because you can figure out the speed at which you move the front or the rear up and down, and how soft the damping needs to be so the wheels still stay on the table and the shocks are working. And doing it this way, I think it will be easier for people to understand that, okay, now as soon as I start moving the car faster, the wheels just don't stay on the table anymore. Okay, my damping is too hard, so you go to a thinner oil. Then with a thinner oil, you do the same thing, and now the wheels stay on the table. Do you understand what I mean, or do we have to find the video? Maybe Pekko can demonstrate. Do you have a car there? So you see, going slowly, yes, the suspension works. Then as you increase the speed, at some point, the wheels will start bouncing like that. The suspension doesn't have time to rebound, compress and rebound, because the oil is so firm. The damping is hard. So of course, there's no sort of definite rule that, okay, if you move at this speed, then your car won't work if the wheels start bouncing. But this is a much better way for you to learn to determine that how should the suspension feel, how fast should I be able to move it before the wheels start bouncing. Because many of the cars that I checked, if I would do this test, if I went very slow, it would work. As soon as I start to increase the speed a bit, it would just, the suspension wouldn't even be moving and it would just be bouncing up and down. I think here in the end, you see here, you can barely see the suspension move. You're just lifting the tires off and smashing them back on the table. So is this sort of idea clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
that makes sense.
yeah, because now it's not only a case of you feeling the suspension, you can visually also see the effect that, okay, the suspension is working and the tires are on the ground. It's okay. The suspension is basically stuck and the wheels are just lifting up and smashing down, lifting up and smashing down. So when the wheels lift up, that's a sign that the damping is too heavy. You should go to thinner oil. And then it's very rare that I come across a car where the oil is too thin, but basically you could move it super fast and the wheels would always stay on the ground. That would then be too thin. But that's never the case. It seems that people tend to, if they set their shocks up wrong, they set them up with too thick shock oil. That's what I've noticed. So the LUTs test, definitely something worth doing. Any other points that you think of which have to do with the basics of building and maintaining a car? Issues that you've seen other people have, or maybe you struggle with yourself?
Just checking that your screws are tight after every race and before races.
That's a really good one. And even Pekko needs some training in this department, because either his screws fall off or he uses so much thread lock that you have to throw the entire car in the bin after an event. Any comments, Pekko?
I mean, it's better to finish the race than
Yeah, but
have
it
your
would be
screws
best.
loose.
Yeah, best to maybe use the appropriate amount and then everything stays on, but you can also rebuild your car.
But remember where we started?
Yeah, this is better now. Now you're finishing races. So next step in this evolution is building a car that stays together, but you can also take it apart.
Making sure your tires stay glued would be a
Okay.
good one.
Pekko is the tire expert here, tire gluing expert. Can you comment on this? And I'll write down these notes.
Yeah. Clean them. First, you make the holes for the tires. That's the first thing. Then you clean the tires with simple green or something you have done it with. Just clean the tires. Sometimes we Dremel the tires. I think it depends on what tires we're using. I think we Dremel hot race tires here in Europe, but then just it depends on track if you glue the insert or not, and then clean the rim or Dremel the rim, what you like to do, and then just put it on the rim and glue it, and make sure the glue goes all the way in, not just the edge.
What type of track would you recommend that you glue the insert in?
On high grip tracks, like just these like Philippine Masters track. It's a good example of gluing the insert. And actually, I think we glued at Silver State also.
What's the benefits of gluing the insert in?
When you glue the insert, it doesn't move in the tire, so it will make it more firm. And you have I think you have more like response, more like like response for the steering. It's more like say more edgy a bit, but something should test for sure.
Yeah.
I
Are you
think-
gluing the insert to the rim or the tire to the insert?
The insert to the rim.
Yep.
Like there is this what are they called? In the insert, the nimbles, or what is it? I don't know. But you just drop
Let's go with that.
yeah, you just drop like 1 drop of glue to there, so it should be fine like that. Like, go around.
Yep.
That's what I have done. Yeah, the main part is just you need to have a clean towel to clean the tire, and like everything needs to be clean. Make sure that there is not any oil anywhere.
Then have you seen, hopefully you have all seen the wiki. When it comes to building, this is still work in progress, but it exists. Go to the wiki and then kit build advice and the build guide. And then everything is separated by bag. So there are videos here for you to watch. These can be really helpful, especially since our manual is not really up to date at the moment. So check out these videos. And there's also written information below. And also there's some additional advice here, like all these new parts we have. If you are in a hot climate, for example, this updated part really helps with throttle servo heat issues and life. So we have the carbon shims that insulate heat, and then we explain that we also drill holes in the holder just for more airflow. So this wiki, Mayako wiki page, is very good with a lot of information, and there really is no excuse anymore if you own a Mayako but you don't know how to assemble it right or set it up right. So don't forget to check the wiki also. What else? Another common issue is, yeah, go on.
Just cleaning your car in between runs so that you have a clean car to work on and you can see issues better,
Yeah,
and dirt doesn't get into bearings, CVDs, and or universals and stuff like that. Just trying to eliminate all that stuff.
preventive maintenance. A clean car, it's going to be a lot easier to spot any issues. For example, at the Philippine Masters, they had this A-main practice, and then after the A-main practice, I realized that one of Pekko's rear upper plastic links was cracked, and I broke it by just pushing down on it a bit, and it just cracked all the way. So he would have had a DNF maybe in the warm-up or the first laps of the main if I hadn't noticed that. So even just going over your car, cleaning it, and looking at each part helps a lot, especially in a race where you can notice that a screw is loose, or it has fallen out, or a part is bent, or like here that a plastic link had a crack in it. So without cleaning the car, I wouldn't have noticed that. So that's really a good piece of advice there. And then another thing which is very common is your linkages and radio settings.
So don't have your car like this, guys. I am not a good example.
Tim is not a good example for how your car should look and how to maintain and and prepare your car. This is true. So linkage and radio settings, again, I think this is not rocket science. It's not overly complicated, but what you have to do is you have to pay attention. You have to take the time to that little bit of extra effort, you know, to make sure that everything is right. If you just throw it together, you can have issues. But if you pay attention and do it carefully, anyone can do it. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure of this.
JQ, is there a detailed video on setting up the linkage settings and video settings?
Pekko, how well did you explain this and show this?
I don't remember. I think we need to make a one.
Do we? Check the one in the wiki and give feedback. In my engine tuning video, I talk about linkage, about what the important things are, so you know what you need to achieve at least. But yes, specifically for the Mayako in the build videos, we should go over it carefully.
What about on the nitro? Checking the brakes, like between runs, to make sure.
It's
checking your front and rear balance.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to do. We do it very often, pretty much every run. Sometimes it's good to do, especially if you're driving and you feel that something's off. It's good to do immediately after the run when everything's hot, just to make sure. But it's a really good thing to do, and that's why we have those easy adjustment collars, so that you can make really quick and easy changes without any tools to the brake bias.
I think another one is just checking that your car is straight before the race.
That's right. Now we have the setup station for this. Makes it a lot easier.
Here's a question and not a suggestion. We come from the on-road world, and between every race, we put our car in the setup station and check everything. What do you think about that for 1/8 off-road?
On a higher level, especially on these tracks that are really groomed and oiled, smooth, medium to high grip, fast, I think it's a good thing to do. Because if you have a crash or, you know, weird landing, all of these things, the settings do change a bit. So if you check your car on the setup station and check your droop each run, you will be more consistent than if you just check it, you know, before the race and before the main, for example. And also what it helps with is that you can make really small adjustments and start going in a certain direction throughout the race, and keep track of where you are and how the car is feeling. Because the better your car is, the better your car setup is, the smaller the differences are, which are noticeable. So with a setup station, just half a degree here or there can make a significant difference to someone like Pekko, for example. What do you think, Pekko?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to do between every run, for sure. Maybe not on like a super low grip or something, it doesn't make that big difference, but on these high grip tracks, for sure. For sure, between every run would be good.
Any other ideas? Any other things?
Maybe just checking you have the right actual parts on your car. So like, I know for instance, when I first got the car, I tried to go from the 2-dot shock position on the arm to the 3-dot, and all of a sudden I couldn't get the right droop. So turns out I had to go to the longer shock end when I went to the 3-dot. So just ensuring that you have the right parts on your car and that all the settings, especially on your car, are the same. So link positions are the same. Your ball positions for like your bump steer and all that are the same. So the car's not doing any weird stuff. Like the right pistons are in the car. You don't have 4 different pistons or 3 or 2 or whatever. Yeah, probably just that.
That's true. It's easy to make mistakes where you have a different setting left to right because you decide to change your setup and then you get distracted halfway through and you've only changed the left side and the right is still another setting. So yeah, we all do that. We've all done that. So make sure that you actually have the correct setup on your car and what you think you have.
I feel like I'm being picked on here.
What?
I feel like I'm being picked on.
Oh, well, I wasn't actually thinking about you here, but you had the skid plate on backwards and upside down, which I'll never forget. That was
Mr.
impressive.
8 degrees.
I didn't know that was possible. So maybe, but that goes back to point number 1 here: build your car correctly and accurately. Even the skid plate, I'll add that for you, since you chimed in. Even the skid plate. Don't put it on backwards, upside down, for example. That
Okay,
would be bad.
I've got another question then as well.
Okay.
And this is what I see a lot. I don't know if there's any performance difference, but people clean their tyres between runs. Is it advantageous to clean tyres between runs?
It could be, but I think it's a minor difference. But especially if you're cleaning with some kind of chemical like Simple Green or something, I think it softens the rubber a bit. So on some tracks, it can work as additive in a sense, that your tires as new would not be as good as a few runs and cleaning them between runs with something. But I think
I have to second that and agree with that totally. That yeah. A lot of the guys use Simple Green between runs. Purely gets a lot more grip out of the tire next run up.
Yeah.
We do it a lot in Perth, but it's mainly just because, like between the pins will get blocked up and stuff because we're on a real natural surface that sometimes you run on it wet or just clay just gets stuck in between the pins or whatever. So that's kind of the only reason we do it over in the West, at least.
Okay.
So that also comes back to the idea of, but as soon as you go out there and do a couple of laps, it happens anyway. Sorry, that's my Anarchy Bee speaking.
Yeah, I think that for most of us here, it's not going to be the deciding factor. It's not that massive of a difference. So in on-road, when they use additive, for example, it makes a huge difference. You could be doing donuts out there, or your car is on rails because you clean the tire off, then you use additive, and on outdoors tire warmers, that's a big difference. For us, if you're running on a dirt track and you just leave your tires, you go run again, or you clean them off, it's not such a significant difference. There's a marginal advantage, but just doing all these things on this list is infinitely more important than cleaning your tires.
But I have to agree with you, Joseph, and kind of somewhat disagree. When you do clean your tires, you can be able to find, like, you might have a small rip in a tire if you don't clean them.
Yeah.
Or you might find a sidewall or something coming unglued from your rim.
Yeah, this is true. same thing as with a car. If you clean them, it's easy also to check and make sure that they are still glued and not coming apart.
I had that issue this weekend.
Any other basic things that we should note?
Well, we did a for the Philippines, we did a laminated sheet of basic things to do as soon as you finish and basic things to do before you go on. And then you just get a pen and run it through, because you know, it's a pretty busy time, and just having an idiot's guide for what to do immediately before and after really helped.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So you create a checklist for yourself, pre and post run.
And charge everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of these things come down to processes and following a process.
Yeah.
So you take tires, for example. Once you find a process that works for you and your tires and your rims, because they're all different and they all seem to stick differently, and the glue, once you find that process, you stick to it and you don't deviate from it. And it's really important, because you know, you start deviating from things, away from things that work, then you're going to run into trouble.
Yep, that's a good point to end that section on. Really good. Okay, then second topic, homework. So I linked that video for you, and hopefully as many as possible of you have watched it. Where did I link that? It was on Discord, right?
Yeah, I think it's in the YMP chat.
Yeah.
Or the meeting notes, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, this video goes over the homework in detail. But the idea is that, well, first of all, disclaimer here. We are still, or we have a group here of drivers at very different levels. And I think, like I said before, that step one, back to basics, this applies to everyone. So everyone needs to do this and needs to practice preparing their car, building, maintaining, and this creating a checklist and a system. So that's the same process that you repeat time and time again at the track and at races, and it will differ. Different people will do things in a different way, different order, but the end result should always be the same, which is a car that functions, that is clean, well maintained, and performs well on the track. That's the idea. So we all need to do that. But then step two, homework. This kind of depends on the level that you are at, because the first step is to watch the videos on driving and practice 5-minute consistent runs. Find your 5-minute pace and lap time. This is the first step, really. And it's fine if that's where you're at, because there's a lot to work on just there with the driving. And I think this is where this course will become valuable for you when you do this, because when you find your current level and then we start practicing the VRC thing and also in real life and talking about maintenance and building your car better, talking about different setups you can do, you will inevitably improve, right? And then you will be able to track your progress. So you can see that when we started the 1st of June, this was my 5-minute time on my home track. And this was my lap time. And then 1 month later, you can check, well, that's impressive. I've actually improved 10 seconds on my 5-minute time and more than 1 second on my lap time, for example. Or if you're at the higher level, your improvement will be smaller, but still just as significant. So if you can't do 5-minute sort of consistent runs, then this homework doesn't really apply to you yet, because at that point, you are still working on preparing your car and driving it. And this is something where you need to be self-aware and honest with yourself, right? Because I think if you want to improve the most, you need a certain level of self-awareness, and you need to focus on the things that will help you the most. So the first step, prepare your car well, find your 5-minute pace and your lap time. Then when you have done that, then you move on to this next step, which is the basic setup changes and learning how they affect your car. And Pekko, you're going to have to do this too, okay? Everyone's going to have to do this. Pekko is going to have to do these same things, go to the track and go through ride height changes and droop and camber and all of these things one at a time, and keep notes of how the handling of the car changed and also how it affected lap times and consistency. So this is extremely time consuming. If you look at the list, there's many different changes. There's the same changes. So for example, for ride height, a very low ride height, 23-23, front and rear, or high, 30-30, or angled down towards the front, 25-27, or towards the rear, 27-25. You know, all of these things are there. And everyone is supposed to try these same settings and then end on their favorite setting. That's the idea. And if you do this properly, it's going to take a lot of time. You can't get through all of those in one day, for example. It's impossible, not if you're doing it properly. So I really hope that you take this part seriously, because you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to notice that some setup changes that you haven't been taking seriously and you haven't been, you know, worried about checking, they'll make a really significant difference to your car. And the next time when you're at a race, you'll remember that. And instead of making some massive change to your car, you'll think, oh, maybe I should just change ride height and droop because I remember it fixed this issue. Or maybe I should only change camber. So this is a really valuable lesson if you apply yourself and do it properly. Any questions or comments or thoughts on this?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
When you guys go from one track to another, do you guys go back to your basic home track and go back to the basic normal settings after you get done, say like at Silver State?
So when you have more experience, you've raced on different surfaces, different types of tracks, and you have your own basic starting setup. It doesn't make sense to start with the same starting setup everywhere, because you already know that Silver State and Philippine Masters are very different, and you already know the main changes that you would make. So going from a very loose, bumpy track to a high grip track, you're going to go up on diff oils, you're going to run different pistons, maybe different roll bars. So these are things that you already know, and that's how you start. So you don't just have one base setup, you have a few different ones. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Sorry, I'm getting ready for work.
No worries. So anyway, so for this homework, I think it would be good to start a Google document, and then we all document our progress there. Then we can also see who's actually doing it and who's slacking. Pekko, are you paying attention? So I expect Pekko's section of this sheet to begin to to be filled up. Not with any bullshit, but actual data from trying this at the track.
Would you also like us to comment the type of surface we're trying all this stuff on as well?
Yeah, it's actually on the sheet. I'll share the sheet later. I'll make some updates to it, but it has that information also about the track, which track and what the surface is like and all that.
And what vehicle we're running, whether it's EP or nitro, or that doesn't matter?
Yeah, it could be good also. And for these changes, you don't always need to do a 5-minute run. Sometimes it's so obvious that you don't like something, for example, and you know why, and then that's enough. Then you sort of understand what the difference is. But even if you go through this homework document and you try everything, if you've just tried it in one condition on one track, you don't really understand or know the full extent to that setting. You would need to repeat the same thing on a different type of track to really have a better understanding of the changes. Anything else on this homework topic? What's a reasonable goal to set? Do you think that by the end of July, Pekko, do you think by the end of July, so 2 months, you'd have got through this?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I need a 1 track day, then I'm good.
1 track day?
Yeah,
There's no way you could do this in 1 track day.
I can.
No, you can't. If you do it badly.
No, I will do it good.
No. Yeah, 1 track day you can maybe do ride height, droop, and camber.
Okay, then 2 days.
No, it's not enough.
I think we should be able to do it. Just speaking for the WA guys, we're also coming into winter at the moment, so it depends on the weather for us as well, how long and when we can actually get out there. We're lucky we do have an Astro track though, so it should be okay.
Yeah. Winter. Some people cannot go to the track in winter, but we can all use VRC, right? So let's get this thing going. So the idea is that we all run the same car setting, which we share in the course material and Discord. So we just put identical setups on the car, and we all run the same track, the same conditions. And then we start with the 12 scale Bangkok track, 8-minute races. So you race with other cars, and then you turn collisions off, because it's ridiculous if you have collisions on. You're gonna really have a meltdown. So collisions off, and then you use your own radio. And the goal is the 8-minute complete run and also your best lap. And I think Pekko sets the benchmark here, I think. Do you have your best result? Do you know it? Or maybe you have to practice a bit now
I think
set that?
I need to practice and set that, but
Okay.
I need my receiver for that. You have it?
I have it? Okay. I can give it to you today. And then the idea is that we practice and share our progress. So screenshots of your times and we have a bit of a YMP tournament, and we'll have prizes also. We had was it the first meeting where we had really good ideas for prizes of giveaways and signed bodies and all kinds of stuff like this. So Pekko will be in charge of organizing this. We have to start now. Let's see. Next week, Monday, 2nd of June. So we are starting now, and we're gonna run at least June, right? 1 month. Yeah. Does that sound like a plan? And then we change it up and we see, do we go off-road or do we go to a different track, or what do we run? But let's start with this now. 12 scale, the Bangkok long track, 8-minute runs, best 8-minute time, best lap time. All running the same setup, same track conditions. So it's fair.
Do you want
And-
us just to take photos of our end result and post it on the Discord, or
Maybe we do an Excel or something.
Yeah,
Like
and
editable Excels.
We could, I can start another chat here, which is YMP VRC Tournament or something like that. And then the screenshots and chat there is all about the VRC. And also we should have some live sessions. Pekko, you need to run that. So we set a schedule, and then a bunch of us can get together and race each other. How does that sound?
I think we cannot
Sounds good.
do it like everyone in the same like session.
How many? What's the
I
limit?
don't know. It will be probably lagging already after like 6-7 people. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's okay. It can be even in the same time frame. You can run sort of multiple starts and have different people.
Yeah.
So
is there any certain parameters that we have to have for our computer setups or anything, or it should just run no problems on anything?
I think it should run. I can check the settings what I have. I think they should be fine for almost everyone. And if you have some problems that it's like not running perfectly, just put everything on low settings, so should be fine.
Are you taking your laptop with you to travel, Pecco? Because that's about the only time you're going to be able to do this.
Uh,
yes,
my
he is.
laptop doesn't run VRC, so
Then he needs one that does.
I'm just looking at your.
you're
I'm just
gonna
looking,
buy me one, then I'm
I'm
good.
looking at, I'm looking at the travel itinerary right now. That's all. So there you go, Joseph. Does your laptop run VRC?
Yeah.
You give that to Pecco, and then you get a new laptop sorted.
That
So
laptop looks like it's gonna explode in any second.
yeah.
Hey, mine ticks away constantly in the background.
Tim sounds like it's gonna take off when we're on a Discord call together. Almost like his front shocks on the weekend.
No, the whole shock system on the weekend was fucking horrible, and I found out why. I was missing a part, so the part's being sent.
Okay, so Pekko is in charge of this. I'll just put ask Pekko here. Okay. And I'll create that chat here in Discord. Create channel. Let's do it right now. Text. What is it? YMP. What do we call it? YMP VRC Championship.
Yeah,
YMP
in that
challenge.
Cup challenge. Okay, that's good.
in that Discord thread, are you also able to post the actual correct link to download it onto whatever on the PCs and all that? Just in
The correct
case
link?
for whatever, like, yeah, the correct link to download it onto the PC or whatever, if that's possible.
Okay.
What he's saying is not everyone has VRC, so he would like the appropriate link to make sure he goes to the right section.
Yes. I am
Alessandro says that we can create a club and event in VRC, or it's a question. Can we create a club and event in VRC?
I have no idea.
Pekko's going to look into that. Okay. Alessandro,
Maybe
message
we could.
Pekko. Yeah. Find out how we can do that, but that's going to be the...
We need to get this guy's contact who's doing it.
VRC YMP challenge. So the link to download, wasn't it also in the course material or no? Let's see. No. So what's the problem? There are different versions of VRC or what?
I just think he wants to cover his ass to make sure he doesn't download the wrong thing.
Okay. Well, I'll do that.
Yeah, I just don't want to make sure I get scammed.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, anything at all?
There's a way that you can buy the game outright instead of paying a subscription from the Pro. If you go to Steam,
Yeah,
you can buy like extra
yeah.
tracks and stuff.
Yeah, actually, you can still buy the all-inclusive from Steam, and that's probably the worth it because you get everything basically.
Yeah, I bought mine a long time ago. I guess they've changed it since
Yeah,
then.
they changed it in their website, but on this game platform, it's like all-inclusive still.
Do you have
Okay.
to? Don't you have to pay a subscription for Steam or something?
If you buy it
Or
from
is-
the website, their website. you
No,
need to have a
like Steam.
subscription.
Steam
No,
itself.
No,
Yeah.
no. It's all free.
Or it's
Steam is free.
Steam's
Yeah, you
just
got-
something you go on to download.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you, I
okay.
can run you through Steam, Tyron. No problem. There's no subscription for
Yeah.
Steam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
like a 60-year-old man when it comes to internet and technology. So
So can someone post the links in the new channel I created here, the YMP VRC challenge, and then I'll get them from there. Download links and Steam and whatever that I have no idea about. Okay? Cool. What else? I hope that now that the season is starting here also in Europe, in Finland, we can actually go to the track. I hope that there's more activity now, and we should stay more active also here on Discord in the YMP chat and with this VRC thing. And my hope is that with this group of races globally, we'll have a lot of different experiences and feedback about driving and setups and racing, which will help all of us learn more and faster and improve faster. And because this is racing at the end of the day, the better we do, the easier our cars are to drive, the better we can drive, the better our results are, the more fun it is. That's just how it works. So that's really the goal here, is to increase everyone's enjoyment. When the cars are working better, they are getting better results, and win-win, basically. So that's the goal. And I think with just these small tweaks and attitude adjustments, building your cars properly, learning about these basic setup things and doing it as a community together, learning together, I think it's going to help a lot. And I think that we will learn faster this way.
Mark,
And-
going to back-
Joseph,
So,
What's that? You're breaking up.
I forgot I wasn't on mute, so I'll just shut up now.
Yeah, good. So
Joseph, I was going to ask you, would
Yeah.
you have any words of inspiration or motivation for some of our young drivers that may find it hard to keep up that motivation between races and stuff like that to do the practice and do the VRC and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I think that we all do this because it's fun, right? So it should be fun. That's number one. I've never needed anyone to give me any sort of words of motivation for anything that I wanted to do, because I do the things that I enjoy. And if you don't enjoy it and you need to sort of be motivated to do something, then quite honestly, maybe you're doing the wrong thing, because there are all kinds of reasons and circumstances we end up doing something, but if it's the thing that we enjoy, we want to do it. That's just how it is. You know, I almost swore, I had to play the violin when I was a kid. Did I want to? Hell no. But I had to, right? I didn't want to do it. So I needed motivation to practice. Yeah, because it fucking sucked. Come on. I wanted to play the guitar. Well, I had the wrong parents. That's why I have guitars now. So I think when there's, especially if you're young, if there's a lack of motivation, it means you don't really want to do that thing. So my suggestion is figure out what it is that you want to do. You'll know when you find it, because you don't need a motivational speech. That's all you want to do. Okay?
Good reply. I like it.
Yeah. Sometimes I think with some people, it could be the fact that they sort of want to do it, but don't have the maybe courage or need a bit of a push. Like, I can see that. Maybe this can be it for someone, like some positive reinforcement or encouragement. Like, you can do this. You got this. This can be for you. Maybe there's some people who are afraid that they'll fail, or that they are not good enough to do something. They would want to, but they don't have the courage to. Well, if there are people like that out there, this is a perfect place to get a lot of information, learn a lot, and truly notice yourself that you are good enough to do this. And you do understand how to put cars together, and you can drive, and you can travel even internationally to race. So there is that side too. I just didn't have that personality, so I can't relate 100%, but I know there are people like that out there also who don't do what they want because they're afraid. So don't be afraid if that's you. But generally, I would say we all know what we want to do. So look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. That's what I would say. Another question here. Only time attack and rank, or do you think that we can organize a race? Oh, yeah. It was same as in the Zoom chat. Ask Pekko. He will look into it. Okay. Is there anything else? Any other comments? I hope we're more active now in Discord. VRC will help. The homework will help. I'll post the Google document so that I'll actually make a note here so I remember. I need to post the Google document, and then you can add your names there, and you all have your own columns where you add your information. How does
Just one
that
quick
sound?
question, Joseph. One quick question.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it looks like we're in the market for a new engine. Is there a YMP edition engine coming out?
There is, but it's only going to be, I think, July. It's going to be OS based, so the ultimate engine.
We have our nationals in August, so I'm targeting a new engine for August. So,
when in August?
14th
middle
to
of
the
Au-
17th, I believe.
Thanks, Tyrant. Yep.
Okay, well, I think that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will know if that's possible.
Okay, great.
But
I'll hold off until then.
Yeah, hopefully it will be. The last I've heard is that we should have them within July. And it's basically the same as the Dakota Fend edition of the Ultimate engine, and then this new one they released, the MXR, whatever it is 2.0 or whatever the new version is. It's the same as that, but just different logos and such.
It's what I ran in Manila, guys. What I'm running now.
If you need one for the meantime, Chris, I have a few motors here you can borrow, or a few you can pick out of.
And I've
Okay,
got a couple
great.
of spares. And
Thanks.
I've got spare.
Okay. Good.
Oh, maybe one quick thing we could add to the document, but I don't know if it really applies, like making sure you're running a good quality fuel if you're running nitro. Just because obviously it will affect how well of a runtime you get, how well you can tune your motor, all that sort of stuff. I don't know if you could add that.
I'm sorry. Was that for me? I was doing something else.
Yeah.
What was that?
Just making sure you actually run like a good quality fuel. If any of us, like for everyone that runs nitro, so good quality fuel, it's gonna be easier to tune. Your motor's gonna be healthier for longer. You might get better runtime as well. Just stuff like that.
Yeah, I think.
And even
at the moment,
learning motor care for after a race meeting and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have a live on that topic somewhere in the course material also. And I think at the moment, the fuels seem to be pretty good. I haven't heard of one that's really bad. Some years ago, there have been issues with some fuels, but right now, I don't know of a fuel that is bad or blowing up bearings or people having issues with.
Maybe also even storing your fuel, like knowing how to store that correctly so it doesn't go bad while it sits in your closet over winter and stuff like that.
Yeah, mainly out of the sun and in like steady
Dark
temperature.
room.
Dark room, steady temperature. Yeah.
Having a good mental positive attitude. That's a trap.
I don't know how to have a good attitude. I'm still learning.
I think I managed to create a club for the VRC, and we can actually have a race on the game. I posted the link to the Discord, and go check out if you can join. Then I can see how it works.
Okay.
But I created the race, so it will start the first day of next month and end the last day.
Okay, good. Then there was a question about the homework. I'm trying to remember where I saved the homework document from before. I think here. Let's see. The question is that when we change from camber to ride height or anything like one setting to the next, do we return to the basic setting or go ahead with our favorite setting? That was the question. Let me see here. Okay, so when you make these changes, the idea is that you do these in order. You just go through them one by one. And then at the end of each, you figure out what your favorite setting is. So then let's say your actual favorite setting is 25-28. Well, it doesn't exist here, but that's what you ended on. This is the best setting. Well, then you keep 25-28, and then you move on to droop. And then you try different droop settings. And then you experiment on your own and you figure out the best setting. Could be one of these you tried, or could be another one that's completely different. So, and then you stick with that, and then you continue. So that's kind of the idea here. Then here, this is something where we are changing the front and we are changing the rear. And the point is that you do it in this order. So you go to minimum kick up, and then you leave the minimum kick up. Even if you didn't like it, you leave it. Then you go to maximum anti-squat. Then you go to 0 anti-squat. Then you go to max kick up, and each time you make a change, you leave it. And this is the next change you make. This is the next change you make. This is the next change you make. Because the point is that you run a car with a lot of anti-geometry, making it very stiff, and then you run a car which is very soft. So that's why it's done like this. And then after this, you would again figure out what is the setting that you like the most. And then you stick with that setting, then you move to the next section. So is this clear for everyone, how to do this?
Just with the droop, is it possible maybe to put next to the measurements you got there, what measurements to do with the droop gauges and stuff for the people that have the setup station?
That's what I'll update here. And also, because this was made for sort of generic, all cars will, or whatever car you have, you can use this, right? But now, instead of just having a device like this, we can put the specific setting we want you to use. So the actual pills and the actual axle height and all of that. So that's what I will update here. And then the second tab is the feedback sheet. And this will be a Google document that then you can just add your name, and you can own a column here and fill in all your findings. Okay? Capito? Yes? Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's been emotional. It's time to go. We have another meeting today in, what is it? 8 o'clock, I think? 6.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Got another one in between that.
I have another 2, I think.
You've got a service center, and then you've got another YMP.
Oh yeah,
So
I forgot about the service center one. When is that?
2.5 hours.
Shit. Okay.
Quite important.
Yeah. 2.5 hours. Okay. Then I have to go now. Annoy Pekko for the VRC. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There, guys.
Talk later. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh yeah, the how to use the setup station video released today.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be released today. It's basically edited, just doing a few small additions. Cool. Okay, bye-bye.